Welcome to All Bodies on Bikes, the podcast, where all bodies are good bodies, all bikes are good bikes, and all rides should be celebrated.
All Bodies on Bikes is a movement to create and foster a size-inclusive bike community. So join your hosts, I'm Maggie.
And I'm Marley.
As we explore the complexities of the biking world, help us break down barriers and create the world that we want to see. And don't forget that all bodies really means all bodies, not just larger bodies, but bodies of all sizes, ages, races, abilities, genders, sexualities, and beyond.
Come along for the ride. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the All Bodies on Bikes podcast. It is a week before Mid-South, and I have not been riding my bike nearly enough to make me feel confident going into this weekend. I'm signed up to ride the 100 miles, and there is a whole crew of us from All Bodies on Bikes going. So I'm like super, super stoked and excited. And we're throwing the DFL party, which we're going to talk about on today's episode. But physically, I don't know if I'm there. If you saw my Instagram post, you know that I started some new medication for a recent bipolar diagnosis. I got nothing to be ashamed of. I'm okay talking about it. But the medications have really been messing with my energy levels. So, we're going to go into Mid-South and hope for the best and not beat myself up if I don't end up doing the entire 100 miles. It's just a bike ride, and that is the beautiful thing about it. So let me get to today's guests. It's a little bit of a departure from our typical conversations, but I'm really excited to have this conversation. It is with Kevin Prentice and Michael Browne from RideWithGPS. And you might be like, oh, cool, just like an hour of sponsorship. I'm hoping that isn't what it is. We're going to dig into some of their inclusion efforts, some of their why they partner with me, why they support All Bodies on Bikes, and what they're doing to make the industry more inclusive. So without further ado, let me read introductions and then we'll get to the conversation. You can find them out on RideWithGPS. Have you ever heard this before a ride and thought, I have no idea what they're talking about? Or maybe you're a super user of the software, planning and sharing routes all over the world. Well, whether you've never used it and are curious, tried it once, or are a super user, today's episode is for you. RideWithGPS is a software application for people who love riding bikes. It helps you plan your bike routes and shows you the best paths to take. You can use it on your phone or computer to find new places to ride, track your rides, and share your favorite routes with friends. It's like having a helpful guide that makes biking even more fun and easy. Can you tell I got that description from ChatGPT? I have been playing with ChatGPT a little bit, and I asked it to explain in a simplistic way for a podcast, Ride with GPS. And I think that's honestly a really darn good description of it. It's a software, and it helps you create and track and map your bike rides. So today, like I mentioned, we sit down with some of the movers and shakers behind Ride with GPS and chat with them about their efforts towards inclusion, why working with groups like All Bodies on Bikes is key to their strategies, and learn some inside tricks from the experts. Kevin Prentice is the operations director who first started as their first customer support person 10 and a half years ago. He enjoys working with individuals and organizations to discover and share the joys of routes and getting outside. He's a commuter turned gravel rider turned runner, and he's always looking to get out on his cargo bike with his kids. Oh. And Michael Browne is the head of marketing at RideWithGPS. He's been involved with bikes since, quote, back in the day, first as an editor of Dirt Rag, then directing branded marketing efforts for Trek, QBP, and Specialized. Aside from rocking a mullet aboard his single speed at the 2005 State College Single Speed World Series, I think that's the Single Speed Cyclocross World Series, which I love that race. He's pretty proud of his founding member status of the Ghost Bikes movement, for bringing daytime running lights to bicycles, and of his amazing family, his wife, Krista, and their 3 kids, Linus, Luella, and Lennon. Welcome to the show, Kevin and Michael. Hey there, and welcome back to the All Bodies on Bikes podcast. I'm here with Kevin Prentice and Michael Browne from RideWithGPS. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Michael, I don't know if you know this, but Kevin, you probably remember 3 years ago now at Steamboat Gravel, like our first kind of interaction was you invited me to be on a podcast that I recorded on the street at Steamboat Gravel. Do you remember that?
I do. It was with Shikaya. It was
Yeah,
fantastic. Yep.
exactly. So this feels
Yep.
kind of like a full circle moment
Yes, we started outside and here we are inside.
inside, but we're not going to be inside for long because Mid-South is next week.
Hmm.
Do you guys want to announce I guess we've already technically announced it on social media. But do you guys want to announce what we're doing together at Mid-South?
Yes, 100%. I am so grateful for all your help and participation and just collaborative, creative awesomeness because this would not have come together in such a beautiful way had it not been for your energy and spirit. And I'm really excited. We've got this great partnership between All Bodies on Bikes and Ride with GPS, and we are celebrating the DFL. Do we call it the after party or just the DFL party? It's
I think it's both this
after.
year. I think typically it's been
Yeah.
called the after party, but we have moved the party up to
Yes.
where it's the party. It's the finish line party.
Yeah. Finish line party at 9 p.m. Taking place basically at the finish line, but then migrating quickly over to Finnegan's Fighting Goat, where we will have all sorts of celebratory materials, and we've got a really fun photo backdrop that Marley's bringing some amazing stuff to make it just a fun celebration.
Yeah,
And we're happy to be helping out with the party.
I'm
So
super stoked. And honestly, I'm a little torn. So I'm registered for the 100 mile, but I know that like I'm a slow rider. Last year I was the DFL, and so there's a very good possibility that I will be very, very close to the back of the pack. You can't see right now, but Kevin is pumping his fist, which also makes me excited. But I like, part of me is like, well, All Bodies on Bikes is my baby. I need to be there to run the show. But we have this amazing team now who is helping. We've got volunteers, and it feels wild to not be like, potentially still be out in the course when the party is happening.
I will be there with your spirit, enjoying myself, which I've done for many years down there and have seen you come across the finish line. So I'm as someone I was trying to think. I've been going since 2017, the infamous helping out since 2017, the infamous rain, mud, freezing cold year. And so I'm it's my favorite event of the year, and I'm super psyched to get back down there.
And you did the double previously, is that correct?
No, I'm not that insane. I did I did the ultra marathon a couple years ago. Um, but it just kind of took I was just destroyed for the rest of it, and it was fun. I'm like, oh, I did it, cool. But now I can get back to just having fun all
Yeah.
weekend and helping out. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice. Yeah, I'm stoked on it. We've got some fun stickers. You guys have a limited edition patch that folks can pick up at our booth, which will be super cool. They have to RSVP though, right?
yes, yes, we have our own on-platform quote unquote event that once you join, then you get free you get free navigation for the course itself for the route. And if you join that and you come to our booth and flash the app and show that you've done that, as long as supplies last, we've got this limited edition patch that will be given away.
That's super cool. I'm excited for it. And that's just like a really cool bonus. Because not everybody has Ride with GPS Premium or might not, understand the benefits of it. But if they RSVP, they get the patch. Or excuse me, well, yes, they get the patch, but they also get the route guidance, which is super awesome. So let's dive in. Anything else to say about Mid-South besides that I wish it was right now?
Uh, that. Just come find us. I'll be down there. I'll be at the registration booth all day, slinging routes and navigation, and I'll have QR codes for getting approved into the event. Alex here will also be there. He'll be sharing the booth with All Bodies and Bikes at the expo, and he'll have all sorts of stuff as well. So it'll be easy to find us, and then most definitely come to Finnegan's for the DFL party. Come get a beverage of your choice, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, there's one other thing that we're doing that I am really excited for, and it's going to be in people's swag bags. I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about this. We have customized paint sticks with the All Bodies on Bikes logo and the Ride with GPS logo. And you might be like, what the heck? What do paint sticks have to do with either Ride with GPS or All Bodies on Bikes or a gravel event, but they are an incredible tool, especially if it gets muddy out there. Which, looking at the weather, it looks like the 10-day forecast just came out today. I've been obsessively stalking it. And it looks like it might rain a little bit earlier in the week. Saturday looks to be clear, which is great. But there's still, depending on how much rain there is, there still could be muddy sections on the course. And that paint stick could come in crucial for keeping your tires moving out there. So make sure you look inside of your swag bag to pick that guy up.
And performance-minded riders, it's only 23 grams. It's not going to weigh you down that much. Bring it along. It might save your hide.
Yeah, you might regret it not having it. I remember at Unbound last year, I had one and let a couple folks borrow it, which I got annoyed with actually, because I was like, damn it, Marley, why are you being so nice? Like, get back on your bike and ride. And these folks are like very meticulously picking the mud out. Like, no, just get the basics and go. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. So, kind of the theme of this episode is how Ride with GPS as like a software platform, as a map making and a tool, how and why does inclusion and diversity and equity matter to y'all? So I guess my first question is like, how is Ride with GPS working to make cycling more inclusive for riders of all backgrounds and abilities?
I think for me, well, say definitely for me and definitely for our company, it kind of all starts with our number one core value, which is we help everyone. And we view our core values of, if the business was faltering or if we were experiencing rocket fueled growth to the moon, or the walls were crumbling down, no matter what happens, these things remain constant and like we will help everyone. That's what we do. And so, our belief in helping folks, whether you're a free user or a paid user, whether you're a 5,000 person bike club or a 20-person community organization, it doesn't matter. We're going to do everything we can to help you. And so it's just, it's the bedrock. It's, our core tenet. And it's really served as, it's served our company well, and it's also served as a competitive differentiator for us too.
Interesting. I kind of want to dig into that a little bit more, but I'm not going to. We'll save that for a private conversation. Um, I guess more on a basic level. So you're there to help everyone. But why does Ride with GPS? Like, why do you guys care to make partnerships with people who are going 5 miles, people who are going 500 miles, people who don't pay for the software? Like, why does access and inclusion matter? Does it really just go back to that core tenet, that core value?
You want to take that, Mike?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll jump in here. I mean, I think it comes down to the fact that we really want to see this industry, the activity, the lifestyle grow. And it really comes down to the fact that representation matters. And for my lifetime, cycling has kind of been relegated to a specific type of demographic, and you can only get so far using just that. And so, we've heard these taglines or adages of, more butts on bikes, or, bicycles are the simple solution to a complex problem. And these are phenomenal rallying cries, but, kind of behind the scenes, there's just a lot of people with N+1 bikes really, driving the sales and the market of the industry itself. But we need more people to represent that activity and be a voice in the world, because it's the only way we're really going to change like infrastructure. And this activity is a very positive thing for everyone in all regards. It's a healthy lifestyle. It can drive change. It can do so many things. And so we just need more representation of more people out in the world.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the nod to infrastructure and the different types of folks that, Ride with GPS is not just for recreational cycling. I know whenever I visit a new city, I use the heat maps to figure out what streets are safe to ride on. You guys have both your global heat map and the personal heat map. And obviously, a personal heat map is cool to see like where I've gone and where I spend the most time on. But going to a new city and really seeing that color differential is super helpful. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And Google Maps, I've learned, cannot always be trusted to make the best bike route. So I find that combining both Google Maps and Ride with GPS can be a really good option there. So thanks for the nod to that. Kevin, were you going to add something?
No, I have this like tagline like that, not Google's routing, but their maps. So they're like standard map with the bike lane overlay, the bike infrastructure overlay, coupled with our global heat map is just the ultimate combo, the ultimate pair. And it's, anytime I go anywhere, anytime I do anything, those are the absolute first two things that I turn on.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, where are the bike lanes? And where are people riding? And you can see both of those things together. It's like, okay, well, this is where my route is going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like a really super basic visual thing too, which I really love because I get lost in the software sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I've been, a premium user for many, many years, and I still find myself dialing up support. Well, dialing you, Kevin, and saying, help me with this
Well,
thing.
see, and I do it. I can't not do it.
It's true. It's true. Well, hey, Michael, you are the head of marketing, and you talk about representation. And I guess this is a question also for Kevin, but does Ride with GPS have any specific initiatives or features to encourage diversity and inclusion within cycling?
I think our initiatives have been really focused on individuals and organizations. I think you can take a look at our roster of ambassadors, yourself included, and then you can look at the people the organizations that we work with, who are doing phenomenal work. All Bodies on Bikes is one of them. We have relationships with All Bikes Welcome. Bikepacking Routes. We fund some grants for events like La Ruta del Jefe. So we really want to encourage participation. We're actively seeking people who are doing this type of work to say, hey, we want to get behind this, and we believe that our platform can kind of help take away some of the barriers. And so we want to do even more above and beyond what the platform itself just does. So I'd say the specific initiatives are really focused on those people and organizations themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, to put that bluntly for folks who are like, what does that mean? It honestly means sponsorship dollars, which for grassroots organizations is extremely helpful and one of the hardest things to come by. So we are super grateful to you guys. Thank you for that. And if folks are hearing this and intrigued, I will put your contact info or general contact info in the show notes so folks can get in touch. But I wanted to briefly touch on what are some of the features for clubs or organizations? Why would you want to create a club on Ride with GPS? Or I guess what is the club feature backing all the way up?
Clubs. We use the clubs as just kind of the de facto. We have an organizations program, and that encompasses bike clubs, tour operators, tourism organizations, event operators, as well
Bike
as bike
shops.
shops. Yeah, as well as bike shops here in the last 6 months or so. So, a lot of folks listening to this are used to a consumer account designed for a singular individual. But we have another side of our business that is a different account that lets multiple people collaborate in one single account. So imagine a bike club and multiple route managers are working on club rides, and they can approve members into the club and get all of their route and event content bookmarked on the members' accounts for quick access. They can find it at any time. And they also have the ability to unlock our paid navigation tools for free for participants of an event or members of a club. So it's a great way for an organization to make a lot of great content available to their members or their audience or the community. And for us, our bet on it has always been, kind of giving away these paid features for free. I remember in 2015 when Zach, our CEO here, and I launched the club account, we're like, are we insane? Should we be doing this? Because back then we had all those no paid features and voice navigation and offline maps was it in the mobile app. We're like, should we be doing this? We're like, yeah, let's do it. It's a great way to introduce people to our product. They get, a nice bite-sized taste or experience of our best tools. We know that the content that they're consuming is going to be really good because it's coming from an organization, an authoritative source that cares about what they're doing. And here we are 9 years later, and we've got thousands of organizations around the world using it in a lot of different capacities.
Yeah, I love that. And
And
I'll fully admit, we're working towards that with All Bodies on Bikes. Making sure all of our chapters have a club page and they're hopefully putting their routes in there. So that way, if you are traveling to Denver or Marquette or any other place where we have a chapter, you can look and see some of our routes that we like and enjoy. And so, more to come on that, but hopefully, more work, the chapters. What am I saying? We're working to get the routes uploaded to there because it is such a cool feature and it has like just a lot there. So thanks for doing that. And if folks are hearing this and thinking, well, we could be of use to that, we will put contact info, like I said, in the show notes.
And
Please.
I do want to just kind of interject one thing and think about like this. I think the pain point that it really alleviates is like think about the number of times you've shown up to a group ride with people that you ride with all the time, and you're looking at each other. Well, who's got the route? Who's got the route? And there's all this like confusion at the beginning of the ride. And when you have an organization's account with a club, it's super easy to publish that route ahead of time. Everyone's got their devices connected, and it's very easy to just flow from the platform directly to your device. Everybody knows where you're going. It's such an easy thing to do. It takes a little bit of work on the front end, but it alleviates that, panic and anxiety at the beginning of that group ride.
Yeah. And it's so easy to share information out there too. I think about, the value to like a coffee shop or a bike shop, having a QR code that folks could scan and it takes directly to their page with all their recommended routes. I think that would be just such a cool thing to provide to their customers. Do you guys have any shops that you can mention that do that?
yeah,
I didn't prep you for this question.
I don't know how to answer this question, Marley. Yeah, let's see, River City Bikes here. Does Wheat Ridge have stuff
Wheat,
up yet?
yeah, Wheat Ridge.
Wheat Ridge.
Who else do we have
Ottawa
going?
Bike and Trail,
Well,
I think.
yeah, does Jeff down there have some stuff? I think Jeff has some stuff at Ottawa Bike and Trail. And oddly enough, and I don't, uh, I, this will be, I don't know how this will be, kind of taken. So Trek has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shops around the world.
Yeah, let me pause real quick. We're brand agnostic at All Bodies on Bikes. And Trek provides a great bike for bigger bodied folks. So
Wonderful,
yep.
wonderful. So part of their shop initiatives are called ride walls. And in hundreds and hundreds of these many hundreds of shops, they have a wall that is filled with maps and metrics and QR codes. And those are all linked to Great Rides club accounts on our platform. And it's an incredible thing. I live 3 blocks from a Trek shop here in Portland, Oregon, and I see it all the time. I get their emails. They email out those same routes from their wall. We're constantly trying to figure out how we can get our content, better discovered and SEO and all this stuff. And anytime we're doing kind of tests and stuff, one of the top search results almost for any city is their Great Rides accounts.
Interesting.
Anytime we're seeing like, how does our region page in Portland stack up against, Best Bike Rides Portland and Best Bike Rides Denver and Best Bike Rides any place in the universe? And lo and behold, there is Great Rides Portland, Great Rides anywhere in the universe. So it's, yeah, these maps and these QR codes, they sound very rudimentary, but they really can be a powerful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if folks, know to look for it. If you throw it out in your social media that, hey, we've curated a great list of our favorite routes here in Bentonville or, wherever you're at. That way, I often when I'm traveling somewhere and I'm looking for, a 20 to 30 mile gravel route, I'll spend quite a bit of time just culling through the Explore tab. But it would be nice to have some recommendations, vetted by a bike shop, or that have just a little bit more information there. So I think, yeah, I don't know. Ooh, you look excited about something.
I got so much stuff to talk
Please, are you allowed
about.
to share any of it?
Uh oh yeah, no, I can talk about it. It's kind of around that. So like a big initiative we're going to be doing this year and into the future forever is like not just route planning, but ride planning. So
Tell me more and what's the difference and
so, you create a route and then right now, so you create a route and that's kind of it. Maybe you text it out to friends or maybe you post it on social media. It's kind of just this one thing. But with ride plan, it's like it should be very easy to share that with your friends. It should be easy on the explore page when you're traveling somewhere else to find scheduled rides, to
oh,
find group rides that are by these vetted sources, these clubs, these shops. So some very cool product stuff that we're working on for that. And then this other piece of it that we're just kind of looking into is we're investigating the possibility of providing insurance coverage for group rides.
okay.
Um,
As a person who is currently in the hunt for liability insurance, that would be incredible.
yeah, so for a lot, well, forever. I feel like I've been saying forever a lot on this call, but
Well, Kevin is actually stepping up personally to finance this thing himself because he
Perfect.
believes in it so much. It's phenomenal. Thank you, Kevin.
um, we for a while we've heard, group rides kind of dying away due to liability concerns. Totally understandable. Rides becoming so popular that they become so big that liability becomes a huge concern. And for us, less people on bikes is a very bad thing. Like we don't want that. So we're working our way through right now, being able to, have some, imagine like it's just this super umbrella policy, and we're the world's largest bike club. And this really goes to serve, you know, groups that are like not traditional clubs.
Like us.
Like you,
Yeah.
exactly, where it's
Mhm.
like, the thought of insurance and liability and all these things, it's like, well, I'm out. Like that's just not for me. But for us, it's like, well, if we can, like, we have clubs, we have events, we have organizations using our software, and we have events and we have routes, and people are kind of funneling through these events for, a ride or whatever. It's like, well, we could just interject like a form or two in there and people are magically covered.
Yeah. That
Or
would
the organizers themselves would be covered. Um, and so I'm I haven't been this excited in a long time, actually.
it's kind of
Because
a
it's
funny thing
It's
like
true.
to be excited about, but that would really eliminate so many pain points. Um,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
imagine you'd have to have, some sort of agr agreements from the ride organizers that, certain things would happen or,
yeah. We just have to bring on the organizer of the ride, which so far sounds like it's not very difficult. And like the approval process, we would just need a rider to fill out a waiver. So it's no different than any other club rides. Like, well, everybody that joins a club has to sign a waiver once a year to participate in the rides. This is no different, and we have a lot of folks sending out links to event pages and people clicking the auto approval links or the RSVP button on an event page. It's like, oh, we just need to get a form in there,
yeah, just one
and
step further.
that's it. That's it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
That's brilliant. That kind of leads me to my next question, and it's not a fully formulated question, but it's, Ride with GPS kind of occupies this really interesting space between like a technology company and in the bicycle industry. And I'm curious to hear both of your perspectives. Michael, you've been in the bike industry for a long time at various companies. I talked about in your bio, you were at Specialized and Trek and QBP and Dirt Rag and all sorts of places. And Kevin, as far as I understand it, you've been at Ride with GPS for a long time. I'm sure you did other things before that.
My whole life, apparently.
I mean, it happens. I was at
Yeah,
my
I know.
corporate same company for 12 years before doing this. So my question, I guess, is, what is that juxtaposition like? Do you feel like you're more of a bike company? Do you feel like you're more of a technology company? And who are your peers in this world? Sorry, I really should have prepped you for this question.
No, that's really a great question because I've been working on helping sell bikes to people since forever. And it's really it's been I don't know, like this lift in my spirits of like I'm not continually positioning something as 20% lighter and X% better to the same exact audience. And I really feel like the benefits that we provide the world are they're genuinely eroding the barriers that are the traditional barriers to participating in the activity and the lifestyle that I believe in so much. So when I think about like who are our peers, like I mean, I guess it's other software companies that do something similar. But I really feel like we're kind of on a not alone. We're just like this connective tissue to so many different places and things. And I think that in terms of the software, I do look at us as like, the intersection of so many different places. And it's a for me, it's a happy place. It's a good place to be. Kevin, I don't think we've ever talked about that before. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of different. I mean, I think about it 24 hours a day. I definitely don't have anxiety over anything like this at all. Yeah, there's there's like the external lens, there's the internal lens. It's like, yeah, what are we doing? It's like we're making software. You can't hold us. It exists on screens mostly, but then from there it goes out. And how far can we, how far can we take it? What's everything? What can we do? Because obviously we sit around and we want to do everything and be everything to everyone. But internally, it's like, well, we can't do that. Like we would fail if we tried to do that. So some folks may have heard of like the hedgehog concept, which is like the hedgehog and the fox. And
I'm not
like,
familiar, please. I mean, I know Sonic the Hedgehog, but
right. Well, so picture Sonic the Hedgehog. So like the cunning fox who's always like hunting the hedgehog, and every day it sees the hedgehog waddling down. And he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna come out of the tree at him on this, or I'm gonna come from behind, or I'm gonna come to the side, or whatever. And all the hedgehog does when the fox approaches is rolls over and forms a ball. And he's got quills sticking out everywhere. The fox can't do anything, and the fox goes off and tries again another day. So the moral of the story is the hedgehog concept is the best in the world at one thing. It's defending itself. So the hedgehog concept is what can you be the best in the world at? The one thing that you can be the best in the world at. And not, if it's refrigerators, it can't be washing machines. It can't be sinks. It can't be cars. It's refrigerators. Beat everyone else in the world at refrigerators. So for us, it's like, well, what is that? Is it just route planning? Is it route planning and routes? Is it route planning and routes and ride planning? Is it a whole bunch of R words that I just said? So it's that, so we sit around starting, it's like, all right, what are we going to be the best in the world at? But at the same time, you want to have this notion of the your Manhattan project, this one like viral light bulb thing that's just going to blow the doors off the water. And that's kind of the struggle of like, we have to be the best at route planning. We got to be the best at routes. We have to be the place like, oh, is that route on Ride with GPS? Like we got to have, we have to have that. But is there something that's just like not too far out of these intersecting circles that, that we can come up with that really benefits everyone and still stays within this principle of the hedgehog concept? So I bet you didn't think that's where this question was going, but hopefully that kind of gives you a little inner working of kind of, some of the philosophical struggles and things that we think about here.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. This is unrelated, and I probably shouldn't tell the story, but have you guys seen the TikTok of the hedgehog giving birth that's going around right now?
I think I'm too old for TikTok. I bet you Michael's also way too old for TikTok, but please tell, please tell.
I mean, it's exactly as it sounds like. I just something I never thought I would see in my lifetime, but it was fascinating. I don't know. This hedgehog gave birth to like four baby hedgehogs, and they were very cute. But going back to the hedgehog principle, I did an entrepreneurship course last year because I still have this dream of making truly size inclusive cycling clothing. And that was something that we talked about a lot. It was never called the hedgehog concept, but like really, what is your niche? I don't know how to say that word. But same idea, what are you gonna be really good at? So yeah, I mean, in my opinion, and I'm gonna say this because I'm allowed to, I think Ride with GPS is the best at route making and sharing routes. And I always get really annoyed when I'm going on a group ride and the route is not on Ride with GPS. I get really, really annoyed by it because there are other apps that do a great job at other things, but not route planning. Make your rides on Ride with GPS, people. It's just so much easier. So
Good. You
they're
said
just
it, not
nodding their
us.
heads. All right, y'all, we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. But I have three last questions for you. The first one is for each of you. What is your favorite feature on Ride with GPS, or something that you think more folks should know about?
Kevin, I got to jump in because yeah, I know we were discussing this ahead of time,
Fine.
and I voiced mine, and he was like, "Well, you just stole my thunder, so I'm gonna steal his thunder again." Well, I over the past year and a half or so, we've been making this gradual move that basically this platform overhaul towards what I refer to as map forward interface. So, for the longest time we were lists, and then we started putting all those things in a easy to view, all encompassing map forward interface. So I can go, and if I look at my riding and route activity from my history and I pull up the world map, I can look at all the different places that I've been, and I can look at places that I have photos. And it's honestly, like when I uploaded more activity and took a look at what this really meant, I was just kicking myself for not having more activity. Like I've ridden on so many continents and countries and places, and I'm like, why don't I have that file of writing that? And now I'm kicking myself for not taking the time to stop on every ride and take a photo of these amazing places I've been, because I really want to, over time, like make this, basically scrapbook collection that I can look back on and share stories with other people, and pass it down to my kids when I grow too old to remember anything. But it's a really, really powerful tool. It helps you remember the things that you can't recall because everybody remembers things in different ways, and it's just such a powerful interface that I absolutely love it, and I tell everybody about it, and I kick myself for not having collected the ride file and the photos from the time that I was, riding in South Africa or wherever it was.
Yeah, I am having a very similar experience. Before you jump in with yours, Kevin, I've my previous life at the logistics company got to ride in Hong Kong and Belgium and Paris and all these places, and it was often on bike shares. It was often, rides of just tooling around the city, and I'm kicking myself for not documenting those rides in that way. That's one of my favorite features on like Apple Photos is looking at the world map and seeing where all your photos are at. And I imagine, a similar thing with the Ride with GPS. I haven't actually zoomed out to the global, but I totally should. I wonder if there's like an integration you can do with like Shutterfly or something to like print out little books of your maps. Like that would be a really cool thing. So, um,
So unlike the two of you, I have been recording everything.
ooh,
I've never used a GPS device in my life. I have always exclusively used our app with my phone since, well, I guess the Android app came out in 2014. That was the first. So since 2014. So while the two of you were talking, I have 33,000 miles and 2,959 photos.
wow.
on my profile that are all in the ride map view that Michael was just explaining. And I use it like this too. And it's like the one thing that my wife doesn't find annoying about like my job or me working so much, or, always talking about nerdy tech stuff, because she's on some of them. And like we
Mm.
go like, oh, remember that? I was like, remember that ride in the Dalles? She's like, oh, the one with the wind that was terrible and I hated you. But I can find the photos really easy and kind of work myself out of that hole, because we can look at the photos. Anyway, so I do like that, and I like that it is like I can. That was part of the reason why we did this, is because people had accumulated so many photos over the years, and you couldn't ever find them. You could never find them. It's like, I want to, that ride I did in 2014. It's like, you definitely don't know what you named that ride. It's definitely buried way down in your library list of rides. You'll never make it there. Now I just pop open map view, and I can find whatever I want in like 10 seconds.
That's so
Super
cool.
easy. So
I imagine for you, Kevin, you can kind of like chronicle your life over the last 10 years of like having kids and like how your riding has changed and all that kind of thing too.
yeah, I'll use it to like see like progressions of cargo bikes that I've gone through. I look at the girls and be like, oh, I was just looking at our oldest, who had a Bach-Feets, a non-E Bach-Feets as her first cargo bike, and had her just like ratcheted down in her car seat in the bucket of that thing. And I didn't go very far. I was only sticking within like a mile or two of our neighborhood anyway. And then she got out of that on the bench, and then we got a Surly Big Dummy, and then we had another, and then they're both in the Surly Big Dummy, and that was like the time of my life. And now we have a turn, and now my wife's riding the turn as well as I'm riding the turn, and they're both on there. And yeah, it's great. That's
That's
good.
so fun. Oh, I love that. So safe to say that map feature is also your favorite feature?
Yeah, let me for 10 seconds. I'll toss out estimated time as my next one. I love our estimated time feature because it's like tailored to you personally. It like uses your ride history. So when I'm just planning weird or dumb stuff, it's like, how long is this actually going to take me? In the planner, it's a decent rough estimate. But then when I'm out like actually navigating it, it's like, okay, like this is like an unbelievably bizarre, accurate estimated time of how long it's going to take you or when you're going to get finished. And I'm in the doghouse enough probably that this really, I'm able to like communicate accurately when I'm going to be home, when I'm going to be finished with this, when I'm going to be at the dinner stop or whatever to meet the family or meet whatever. So I use estimated time all the time.
Yeah, I sometimes I forget about that feature and that it is differentiated. I remember last year Scotty Lechuga, who also lives here or excuse me, Scotty Moody. She changed her last name, previous ambassador. Her and I collaborated on something, and I think my estimated time was like an hour and 45 minutes, and her estimated time was like maybe an hour for the same route, but pretty darn cool because it does aggregate all that data over the years or months or however long you've been riding. So I don't know, there's I think in everything you guys are talking about, there's just so much like thought that goes into these. And, I think that happens with lots of software, but for those of us that are bike nerds and really enjoy this kind of thing, it's really cool how it enhances the thing we already love. So,
Agree.
agreed. Okay, well, wrapping up, we always ask our guests two final questions. But before I do that, is there anything else you want to add about Ride with GPS, your, diversity initiatives, or anything we should be on the lookout for?
Um, I'll just reach out to us if you need help. If software can be of any assistance, help, value, benefit, whatever, we have support 7 days a week. We'll help you. We will absolutely help you. And
And I can
then
vouch. The support people are genuinely good, helpful folks. Are they all based in Portland? Is that correct?
no,
Not anymore?
no. Once COVID hit, we went fully remote. So we've got Portland, we've got Missoula, got Boise, we've got Denver, we've got another smaller place in Colorado. I won't name it because it's so small. So yeah, no. We're all spread out, and our support is the best in the biz.
Yeah, and they're all bike riders or runners and very, very knowledgeable. And they'll be stoked to chat with you as well. You don't often say that about software support folks. But Ride with GPS is the real deal. Anything you want to add, Michael?
I just want to extend we're here to support you and help you not only from the individual perspective, but from the organization's perspective. The important work that we talked about doing, we're eager to get involved. Of course, we all have, limitations in bandwidth, but we definitely want to be involved with others. So if you're listening out there and you've got some ideas, some projects, something you want to work on, don't be afraid to approach us. Our contact info will be in the notes somewhere, or however Marley's sharing that. But we're eager. We're here, and we want to be a larger part of the community overall.
Awesome. And swing by at Mid-South if you're going to be there and say hi and let us know you heard us on the podcast. Okay, so as promised, final two questions. So for both of you, the first one is, what is your perfect day outside?
Ooh.
You go ahead, Kevin.
Me, I would say a trail run in the morning, and then a family bike ride in the afternoon for ice cream and a beer.
Nice. What about you, Michael?
Oh, that's pretty good. I'll throw in there whatever the ride is. I'd really like to be the descent. Whatever the descent is should probably be like 5 times the amount that the climbing is. So I really want to go fast, go downhill. I'll throw in ice cream. Maybe I'll throw in like a sauna and a swim or something like that too, because I've really been into that like extremes of the cold stuff recently. So
Ooh, okay.
let's make all that happen all at once, and that would be a phenomenal day outside.
You should come ride bikes in Arkansas in July and then jump in some of the spring-fed creeks that we have because it's like a sauna and then the water is actually cold. It's quite nice. I don't know if it counts as a cold plunge though. And then very last question is, what do you wish more people asked you about? Obviously you get to talk about software and bikes all the time, but aside from that, what do you wish you got to talk about?
I'll go first on this one. I just want people to ask me when they can babysit my 3 children so that I can go for a bike ride.
Fair enough.
With my wife, not just solo out there. So
it's okay if you want to go by yourself.
Well, we just don't get the time to do it anymore. Like, we used to do it all the time together, and now, twin 3.5-year-olds and a 7-year-old, and it's like someone's got to be there all the time. So.
Yeah. Ooh. What about you, Kevin? What do you wish more people asked you about?
If I would like more free pizza. That would be a good thing to hear. No, honestly, I don't know. I talk a lot about cycling and technology quite a bit, which I'm always happy to. So maybe more conversations about trees and plants.
Ooh.
I have a horticulture degree originally. So it's always fun to just kind of go down memory lane. And when I'm walking my girls to school, I'll like point things out, and I'll like slip some Latin names in about trees and stuff just to kind of act cool. And obviously they don't think I'm cool, but it's nice to kind of keep that part of the brain.
Nice.
Turning.
That's why I love that question, because I wouldn't have known that about you. So very good to know. Well, hey, this has been a really fun conversation. I learned some new things. Hopefully our audience did too. And really appreciate you guys joining and all of your support of All Bodies on Bikes and all the initiatives. And we'll see you in a week for Mid-South.
You will.
Yeah.
Woo!
This is an All Bodies on Bikes podcast powered by Feisty Media. The show is produced by Maggie and Marley and edited by the team at Feisty Media. Thanks for listening.